Hello and welcome to lesson 43. Today the lesson is related to past continuous. Okay, so what are we going to do in the lesson today? We're going to look first a very quick review of present continuous, and then we will look at past continuous, its form and its use. Okay? So let's begin. So first of all, present continuous, if you remember, is formed by the verb be plus ing. For example, I am working. Remember, you can contract I and am and make it I'm. So I am working or I'm working. Or in negative, I'm not doing anything special. So you've got the verb to be and the verb in ing, working, doing, cooking, writing, running, listening, jumping, juggling. Okay? And as I said, the negative, we'd simply put not in to make it negative. Okay, so what is the use of present continuous? Remember, it has two uses. One is for an action that is in progress at the moment of speaking. So, for example, I am talking to you, I'm studying English, my husband is working. My sister is writing a novel. Maybe not at this particular time, but it's in progress, okay? And the form, here's a reminder of the form. Remember, you have the affirmative. Here, you've got it without the contraction. So I am talking, you are talking, he is talking. Obviously, you can contract. So I'm talking, you're talking, it's talking, she's talking, we're talking, they're talking. Okay. You've got the negative and the question form where you just take the subject and you change the subjects and the auxiliary verb, which in this case is the verb to be. Okay, so do you remember that? Right. Now the other use, very quickly, do you remember present continuous we also use for future plans when it's a plan, a definite plan. Okay, so for example, in December, I am flying to London. I have the tickets. I know the day. Okay, my cousins are coming to my parents' house for Christmas dinner. On the 26th, we are going to the theatre. Okay, so these are all examples of present continuous for future plans. All right, so now we're going to look at past continuous. So just have a look at this video. Okay, so you can see in this video that I was in the process of having breakfast when another event happened. So look at the sentence to describe this. Okay, so I was having breakfast when the phone rang. Okay, so you can see the use of past continuous. I was having breakfast when the phone rang. So the verb to be is in the past. Okay, and then you've got the action that interrupts the first action. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand, just look at more examples. Okay, so what's happening here in this video? Okay, so you can see again in this video, I was listening to music when the phone rang. Okay, so the first action here, you can see me listening to music, and that action was in progress when the other action, in this case the phone, rang. Okay, notice here we're talking about a past event though. Okay, all right, so let's show you now. Here, I was listening to music when the phone rang. Okay, so one more example for you. Okay, so here we have, I was making a cup of tea when I burnt my hand. Notice the verb burnt. It can be an irregular verb in the past or regular, but here I've used it as an irregular verb. So we've got, I was making a cup of tea. That was the first action. When I burnt my hand. Okay, so here we are. I was making a cup of tea when I burnt my hand. So basically, as I said, here you can see you've got present continuous is related to something in progress now, and past continuous is related to an action that was in progress at a specific time or when a specific action happens. Okay, so for example, going back to the first example, I was having breakfast when the phone rang. So that's the action in progress when the second action happens. Okay, right. Now here, just to talk about form, this is present continuous, present, present, present. And if you see present, and then you've got the past. So with the past, all we do, if you go back to present, that's the present, and then in the past, you're just changing the auxiliary verb into its past simple form. Okay? So you can pause the video and take notes if you want to. I'll just take myself away there. So you can see the whole conjugation of past continuous. All right. Now, notice here in the negative, here I put it in full form, but of course we can have it contracted. I wasn't talking, you weren't talking. She wasn't talking, we weren't talking, okay? Now, what we're going to do now is, this is basically a good way to practice the form, okay, without having to think of past simple. So this question is, what were you doing at 8 p.m.? So 8 p.m. is the time, the exact time, and what action was in progress at 8 p.m.? Okay, so if you see here, what were you doing at 8 p.m.? And here are some examples for you. Notice we have the question form here, so the you were gets inversed for the question. Okay, so here are some examples. I was watching TV. I was cooking the dinner. I was having a shower. Psh. Okay. Other examples. This time with he. Okay, so the conjugation we need to use was. So what was he doing at 8 p.m.? 8 p.m. is 8 o'clock in the evening. So what was he doing? He was working, he was having dinner, he wasn't doing anything special. So a negative here. And now I want to do some practice. So what we're going to do, I've got some questions here, and I just want you to think of your answers. And maybe even better if you pause the video and write down your answers. Okay? So here we go. We've got, what were you doing yesterday at 7:30 in the morning? What was I doing yesterday? Yesterday, for me, yesterday was Sunday. So at 7:30 in the morning, I was sleeping. Yes, I was sleeping, I think. Okay, and this one, what was your mother, or what was your father, or what was your sister, or what was your brother doing at 10 o'clock in the evening on Saturday? So, for example, for my mother, I would say probably my mother was watching TV, or maybe my mother was sleeping. It's possible. And what about you? And for the last one, what were you doing at 5 p.m. on Friday afternoon? Okay. I know what I was doing. I was playing with my daughters in the park. I was playing, yes. Okay, so write down the answers to those questions. Make sure they're true. If you need to look for an online dictionary to help you, that is absolutely fine. It's a good way to expand your vocabulary. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you some sentences, and you just have to maybe copy down the sentences and decide what word goes in the sentence. Is it was or is it were? Okay, so it's about the conjugation in this case of the auxiliary verb. Okay, so I'll put it on the screen for you. Okay, so now you've had time to read the sentences. So we've got we having lunch when my boss called, my brother running when he fell and broke his leg, my son doing his homework when he got a message, my friend and I having dinner when we heard the news. Okay, all right, so if you're not ready, pause the video. If not, I'm going to put the answers onto the screen now. There we are. How did you do? Okay, all right. Now I'm going to do some practice where we're going to look a little bit at the pronunciation. Okay, because maybe you have seen that the pronunciation of the auxiliary verb is not emphasized. Okay, so go back to the, you see here? Right, listen to the pronunciation of the auxiliary verb as I read these sentences. We were having lunch when my boss called. My brother was running when he fell and broke his leg. My son was doing his homework when he got a message. My friend and I were having dinner when we heard the news. Now, did you notice the pronunciation? I'm going to show you another slide here now. The pronunciation of the auxiliary verb has two possible pronunciations, but don't worry if you can't distinguish them. Don't worry if you only choose one. It's okay. All right. So you've got, let's look at the second one first, okay, where it says, I was watching TV. I was watching TV. Do you hear the auxiliary verb is very quick? It's not a lexical verb. It doesn't have the most important information. Okay, so it's I was watching TV. I was watching TV. Was. I was watching TV. Okay, and now let's look at the other example, which is just here, the last one. We were listening to music. We were listening to music. Do you notice the auxiliary verb were is pronounced w? We were listening to music. We were listening to music. We were listening to music. Because the most important words are we, listening, and music. Okay? Now, going to the short answers, you have a slightly different pronunciation. It's basically slightly harder or slightly longer. Okay, so for example, the first one is, yes, I was. If I say, you weren't studying English. Yes, I was. And notice it's the was, not was. Yes, I was. In that case, it is emphasized. Okay, or you weren't studying English. Yes, we were. Yes, we were. So it's a longer sound, not we were. The we were listening to music becomes, the w becomes were, a longer sound. Okay, so have a practice reading these sentences with yes, I was watching TV, yes, we were, and we were listening to music. Okay, so now you have focused on the pronunciation. We're going to do a quick pronunciation activity, and then we will stop for today because it's a lot of information. Okay, so here we've got listen and repeat. Okay, I was having breakfast when my mum called. Now notice here in the example with my phone, I said the phone rang. The phone, the action is brr, 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 brr. This is to ring. But in my case, I'm saying my mum phoned, my mum called, okay? So I was having breakfast when my mum called. We were having dinner when we heard the news. My friend was running when he fell. My friend was running when he fell. Fell. Okay. I was working when my computer crashed. Okay, my computer stopped working. Okay. I was shopping when I saw my friend. Okay. So you can practice those yourselves, pause the video, try repeating them, listen to them again and again. But don't worry, as it says here, in the next class, we are going to do a lot of practice with using past continuous in context, okay? The context of a story, of an event, all right? So we'll do some listening practice, look at the grammar, and try to help recycle some vocabulary and to recycle past simple at the same time. Because as you see, past continuous and past simple quite often exist in the same sentence. Okay, so this action was in progress, past continuous, when this action happened. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that lesson, and I will see you in lesson 44 for more practice. Okay, so take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.